Welcome to Glazed Over, a podcast for contemporary ceramic studios. We're your hosts, Jessica Cowan
and Vanessa Steele. You're invited to join us in a creative conversation about life in the arts and entertainment industry.
Hey everybody, it's me, Jess, and we're here today with Hilary Moullilet from The Creative Retailer. Today's conversation is all about your brand and branding consistency. So we're talking about what the experience feels like both in person in your studio and your digital presence. She is a wealth of knowledge per usual, and we're having a conversation that is both wide and deep that you're not going to want to miss. Enjoy!
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
Hey everyone, Des Toll here from Bisque Imports, and we've got good news for your kiln room. New kiln core stilts are here. They're strong, precision built, and made to deliver clean results every time. If you're glazing and firing, these are a must-have.
Running a fired art studio is creative, rewarding, and a lot of work. That's why studio owners worldwide turn to the Contemporary Ceramic Studio Association. As a CCSA member, you get industry education, marketing tools, supplier discounts, and real data to help you grow smarter. Plus, you'll connect with a supportive community of studio owners and get listed in our online studio locator so customers can find you. Ready to strengthen your studio? Join today at ccsaonline.com.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Jessica. Thank you for having me. I am Hilary Moullilet. I live outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. This has been my home for, close to 25 years. And I think I've done it all in the PYOP world. I have owned 2 studios. My first was in Florida, opened in Jacksonville in 1998. And my second was here in Charlotte, opened in early 2000s. And I did sell that after about 13 years. I proceeded to do some side work in marketing, a lot as small retailers. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family in New Hampshire. My parents owned ski shops, among other things. And I think it was just in my blood to be a small retailer. COVID changed my plans after I sold my last studio in Charlotte. And I have the privilege of working for CCSA for a bit, which was awesome. So I got to see behind the curtain what I only saw one side of it as a studio owner, jump to the other side and help studios with marketing. And then what I saw was really a need for more help specifically in the areas of marketing and branding, and just plain, operational type work surrounding around how do you drive the traffic into your studio. So the Creative Retailer was born. It's almost been 5 years, and I provide services for studios as simple as content creation. We have a platform. We're over 3,000 photos now and videos that you can use in your marketing. And then I also, my team and I have got Val and Lindsay, they're my VAs, and they help create emails for a handful of studios as well as daily social posting. So I'm enjoying the work I do. I work from home, and as does my husband. I don't need
so
to
you're living the dream.
Did you hear the last part?
Yeah.
You know what, Jessica, seriously, I'm thrilled where I am now. The challenges are so real. I thought when I opened Art Space in Charlotte, literally at the beginning of the housing crisis, it was horrible. However, the lessons I learned from that, the work I did over 13 years owning Art Space, I truly believe it has led to where I am now. I love helping all of these people, and you don't have to necessarily be a member or be working with me on services. I always ask studios, call me, email me, text me. Let's talk through things. It doesn't matter if you're brand new or if you're established. I tend to work more with established studios. How do you take what you've got and grow it? However, if you need help, I always say, if you need help stilting a unicorn, I can do that too. Not only sell that unicorn to get them into painted, I can help you stilt it in most cases. So that's all about me.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Okay, well, so my first question is, what made you want to open a pottery studio to begin with? What made that the calling?
Oh, that honeymoon in Canada. We went skiing in Whistler, teeny little studio. And
Oh,
I still have the plate. It's a small coupe,
cute.
winter, gorgeous Canada. Everything about it was amazing. And as I said, I was raised by Doug and Laura, who owned businesses, and I loved what they did and how they approached their community. We were in teeny town, New Hampshire, totally all small businesses. And it was just the path for me. So as I was sitting there with now my ex-husband, I have remarried, but
It happens.
we
Yeah.
were painting and he was like, what do you mean you want to open up a studio like this? It's like, there's nothing in Jacksonville. Let's do this. He didn't believe me, but then 7 months later, Pottery Works, my first shop, opened and
It
opened.
appeared.
Woohoo, it appeared. And that was pre-CCSA. I think that was right around when maybe there was some loose organization. So I did all of that on my own. I loaded my first kiln kind of by myself. There was a supplier in the area. Well, I say a supplier. I'm not sure what they were. Maybe more traditional ceramicist. He tried to help me a little bit. So yeah, it was a lot of bumps in the road, but God, what a way to learn, just by doing trial and error.
Yeah. Yeah, I love trial by fire, like
Yeah.
just throw myself in there, seeing what happens. I was manager of my studio, but then I bought my studio 2 weeks before COVID happened. So that was my whole like that's been my journey of learning this whole time. But I've learned so much, and there's no other way to really get in there, So
I guess there was no
um,
money back guarantee with that one, huh? You couldn't return it.
no, there was not. So you learn to make it work, and you innovate, and that's kind of the for me the fun part is the when your feet are to the flames, like you do figure some things out that you would not have otherwise
Mhm.
thought of. Which kind of brings us to like the process and the branding and the innovation of it all, because as small business owners, that is the hard part. Like we jump in on our own with our own visions, and then we kind of realize that, oh, we get to a point that it needs to become cohesive. We need processes, we need a brand, we need things to feel good for our customers and for our staff. And you kind of figure out that that's a little bit harder than it seems when you're just like a one-man show.
You know what's so funny is people say when we're talking about a totally different part of the business, like accounting and taxes, always hear studio owners say, "I didn't come into this so I could do, my own taxes and all." Well, they also didn't come into this world so they could do their own marketing and do their own branding. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just from my experience, people jump into it because they've experienced it exactly like I did. And they're like, this is so cool. And it's the emotion, it's the vibe. You're not thinking, oh my God, I can't wait to market this. I can't wait to do my taxes. You're not thinking about anything about that. So
Right. Yeah.
but you are, it's what's, I guess, ironic or coincidental when you do get those feels if you're in another studio and that's your inspiration. That's part of the brand that might not have brought you in there. Like we just happened to stumble across it. I wasn't drawn into it by an ad, but once you're in there, you feel good. And if your customers can't leave and explain that that why they like that, I think you're missing a part of your branding. I want to start the branding talk with a quote that I believe sums up branding perfectly. It's Walter Landon, and he was one of the first pioneers of studying consumerism, branding. And he said, products are built in a factory, brands are created in the mind, which is so true. It's in your head. So, Jessica, do you have like IKEA? Do you have an IKEA near you?
Yeah, like a couple hours away, but close enough. Yeah.
So, when you think of IKEA, do you think of what do you think of?
Swedish meatballs. And I've never had them. I've never had them, but
Oh,
I know that that's like a thing that they have. But then I
yeah.
also think of like, furniture that is easy to build and
Mhm.
put together, and kind of,
Yes.
it all goes together. It's got this kind of what am I looking for? Minimalistic look to
Hmm.
it.
And can you picture IKEA in your head?
Yeah,
What it
it's
looks like?
blue,
And
it's yellow.
boom, yellow. But then can you picture, it's also massive,
Yeah,
clearly,
giant.
with little hallways where you can be like, morphing around into portals and things. But the biggest thing for as far as branding is what if you need help in IKEA? Do you get help in IKEA? Most people will say yes, but you've got to search for it. So often when I think of IKEA and what I need, I don't always think of staffing as part of the branding, but that's part of the whole thing. It's trying to find it because the
Mhm.
stores are massive and they have arrows on the floor to point you places. Um, but it's just sometimes it can be in heavy load if you really just want one thing done or a question answered. So that's kind of what Walter meant about the brand is created in my mind. When I think of shopping somewhere, you think of something relevant to your experiences there. What can I ask you? We'll flip the microphone. What do you want your customers to think of when they think of your studio?
I want them to think of fun times and belonging, community. Yep,
Excellent.
those are the things. Yep.
How important do you feel is for a new customer when they walk in? How do they how do they jive with that immediately? How do they pick up that vibe when they first timer walks into your studio?
Well, I mean, the colors and the way that we have everything set gives good vibes, and then we have a staff member who meets them there to greet them. That's the staff is part of our brand, so we meet you and talk to you, and greet you and welcome you in and see if it's your first time, and if not, kind of guide you from there so that you can direct the experience, so that from there it's on you as to if you've been here before, you kind of know what you're doing and you can go in your own direction. If not, we'll walk you around the studio and show you everything so that you feel that sense of belonging and like it is for you and you can ask us questions and you're not going to be bothering us because we work here and that's the whole point, like,
And staff is such a huge part of branding, and I think people don't often they're seen as two circles and not as overlapping for the Venn diagram. Um, if you have if you have a staff member who really does not understand your mission, your vibe, the ultimate goal of being a small business owner, meaning making happy customers happy, then you that of course staffing can be a whole nother conversation. But I think
mhm.
that is huge because as the owner, you should not be at your studio every waking moment. So you are leaving your brand in other people's hands. And they should really clearly understand what your idea of a perfect A+ day is for a customer walking in and how they could potentially veer off course a little bit. And that it might not even be intentional. They might not even understand that, um, like some people can overdo it. Body language is huge. I always thought I
Right.
considered myself a pretty good person at judging body language. If somebody came in and they're like, oh, I got it, whatever. But if you're harping on them and you're intense, that's not exactly going to be helpful to that person because they want their space. So teaching some of those more emotional centered or awareness skills is huge. And it can be easier said than done. We're all human. We all approach things differently. We all have different ideas of conversations in our head. I wrote a post, gosh, it's probably been a year ago. I went into a new store. It's a soap making store. I think you can make your own, but they also sell soaps and you can do soap parties. And I hadn't been in before. And I was pretty clear telling this gal that I hadn't been in before. Jessica, I'm not kidding. When I left there, I knew everything about that woman's personal life, everything. And I didn't learn anything about soap.
Gosh, I hate when that.
I hate that. So that kind of was off brand a little bit.
Right.
And I will mention this again at the end, but I have on my website a brand checklist, and it's the definitely looking at the wide picture, but going deep a little bit. Just maybe reminders for studio owners how they can approach working with the staff, how they can approach their store, the consistency. Consistency might be the word I use the most, though I haven't said it yet, because branding is consistency. When I come into your store, I don't want a whole different vibe experience every time. Again, back to the staff that you're greeted and worked with the same way. Your website's consistent. You're consistently updating posts. You're consistently sending emails. You have that foundation created. You understand everybody's on the same plane and they deliver consistent results every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big proponent of bringing your staff into this. I think that's something that a lot of studio owners miss because we think that our staff's job is to run the back end of the studio when we really have to be investing on the front end, and the back end will move a lot more smoothly. We do have a position at my studio, a customer experience manager, and that's what they do is they audit the studio and they work with body language and making sure that everyone is talking the same way, and kind of they're calling customers, because reviews are great, but that's part of kind of creating that sense of belonging, is we're calling people and following up with their experience and having that conversation of like, what was it like, were you interacted with, and tell us about the tools. Do you wish we would have had something? How did your piece go? Did you have a fun time? That sort of thing. So I think that there's a much larger loop to all of this than just, in and out too. There's like a back end of bringing your customers into it so that they feel like they're helping create the space that they want as well. Like you can have a feedback loop with your customers so that you can give them what they want and everybody is happy. They come back in.
We could go into a broadcast just on that position. That is so cool.
I know, right?
That's a really cool idea. And I like to remind staff too, and owners to remind their staff, we're all shoppers, your staff are shoppers. And of course, young folks might not fully go into a store expecting, excuse me, or I don't know, just it's their experience is different. But us, when we go into a shop, we want to be greeted. We want to say hello. Just think of what thrills you with service. Think about what doesn't thrill you, because it's almost the same for everybody. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be heard. I don't want to hear the soap woman's life story about her. Literally, she said her baby daddy picking up kids. I
Oh my
stood
gosh.
there. I couldn't leave because I'm like, I need to know how long you're going to talk to me about your family. Such a great example of please don't do that ever in any situation. So yes, I'm glad we touched on staff probably first, because you work so hard. You put so much time and money into your marketing, into your digital marketing, my goodness, and into even your studio. You're paying a ton of rent where you are. You work so hard to make your studio beautiful. Everything you're doing could potentially fall apart if that first experience is not what the person expected. Or deserves, honestly. You're doing a lot of work and you want to make the folks happy. I can't imagine, going into a store and not being, or a studio and not leaving pretty happy. So on that note, I think mystery shoppers are a gem, and you don't need to have a super, super structured system, but maybe once a quarter, give not a customer, of course, because you want it to be somebody your staff doesn't recognize, but it could be a friend of yours. Give them a $30 gift card, have them go through the experience as a new customer, even if they've done it before, and then, send a follow-up. And the staff will be shocked. They're going to want to know, who was the person waiting on them? Who is this person? Who is this mystery customer? It's
Mm-hmm.
a good check-in for your staff, and just say, you never know when we'll get another one. It keeps people on their toes. And you don't necessarily have to reward them. Be like, hey, you did great. Here's $50, whatever. It's just part of the job. The expectation is you're treating all the customers well, properly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and plus, like if you've got a great community presence, like they will tell you personally too at a networking event, like, "Hey, I was in the other day," and you'll be like, "Fantastic, thank you so much for that."
Yeah. Well, and I'd rather have that than the one-star Google review
Yes,
or blasting you or
same.
screenshotting messages. And for Pete's sake,
Yeah.
that's just gotten out of hand. But you can only control what you can control. You cannot control that, and you can respond professionally and move on. I mean, what else can you do?
Right.
It's understandable. We all get hurt like that when people are cruel, and
Mhm.
they can be cruel.
But on the note of your first time customers, when you finally get them in the door, if you can't deliver a great experience that first time, you've got a less chance that they're going to come back. You can give a previous customer, you can miss the mark one time and they'll be like, oh, this isn't normal. I'm going to come
Hmm.
back. But if it's their very first time and this is the experience that you've given them, they're probably not giving you a second chance just based off of the fact that
Yeah.
I'm like that. Like, think of your own consumer behavior, right? Like, you finally go somewhere that you've been excited to go, they miss the mark, it's already an expensive thing, you're just like, you know what, that was great, whatever, let's try something else next time.
Mhm.
There's no reason to go back. So you don't have a lot of chances for getting people in. You've got plenty of chances to make mistakes and be human with them once they're inside of the system and in the legacy cycle. But once you got to get them in the team first,
So, you know what? I think it would be so awesome, and I would love it if I could have a few people try this out and see how it works. As you said, first timers are gold. I mean, gold. You've worked so hard to get that person in there and their family and their friends, whoever they brought with them. Mark their receipt, their paperwork. So when they pick up, something is on there that's not glowingly obvious to them or they don't know what it means. Put, I don't know, a red star, a sticker, some indication. So when the staff or yourself is giving them that piece, this is literally the first time they haven't come back to get their piece. I know a lot of folks pre-wrap, but ooh and ah with them. I mean, be real. Don't be all fake because I get excited about everything. I don't, it's exciting and they're excited to see it. So make a point to say, what do you like? What didn't? Of course, there's all kind of caveats. It could be a busy Saturday, but again, you've invested so much to get that person in the first time. Make sure they understand the transformation. Clearly, the pink is not pink anymore. It's red. And why is this not quite solid? I wanted this solid. Help them understand why their piece did what it did if they're questioning it, or just say, oh my gosh, did you know we have the companion plate that goes with this mug or something. There are so many things that you can touch on to get them excited about their next visit. An event, new inventory. We're always coming into a new season, always. Or if not, you always, a lot of studios have Christmas out or ornaments. It's great to get ornaments done early. There are so many opportunities to work with that person at pickup. I wrote a blog on it called The Boomerang Effect. And again, bringing back your staff, when you're not there and a new person comes in, you really want your staff to understand how important it is to get them excited about their piece, to help them maybe clarify why it's not exactly the way it is. Don't be scared of that, because we've all been through that first time, or even wondering after the millionth time, why did this not fire properly? It is organic, and you can't create, like, oh, everything's a perfect world, but it's organic. It's you're creating. You're not using this or AI, which is the beauty of it. So make sure that's part of your branding. It's getting excited. Now, sometimes with your regular customers, you can do a quick handoff, though I don't like doing quick handoffs for anybody, because I like to ooh and ah with everybody when they pick up pieces. And again, reiterating, actually, I just saw on CCSA, somebody posted their pickup area, massive bags. And as often as you can, I would encourage folks to pull it out just real quickly if you have a minute. You might be super busy. You might be in the middle of an email because the store is empty. You got to take that minute to cheer them on, especially if somebody does that. I'm going to challenge somebody. Tag first timers. It's clear they're first timers because they're not going to be in your POS. So tag them and get excited with them and talk about what they can do next. You can always talk about have a birthday party. You can talk about a ladies' night. I mean, team building, my gosh, there's an endless supply to chat about. That's part of your branding.
Yeah, and a lot of times I find that it's about letting customers know that you want them to talk to you and you want to be involved. So if you're a prepackaged studio, which we prepackage some of our stuff, like our larger orders and things, but we'll say like, hey, do you have time to open these? We want to go through these with you. Like invite them into it, and normally they're like, yes, absolutely. So you don't have to send them on their way. You can give them the opportunity. That way, if they do need to go, they can go, but also they know that, hey, I want to open these with you. I want to do the things with you. So there's lots of ways to get them involved, talk to them, ask them those questions of like, oh, I see that you have made something for grandma here. Did you know that we do handprint Tuesdays, or whatever it might be? Because I don't know, I'm a sales gal at heart, I guess, myself too. Plus, I don't want to tell my life story, so it's easier for me to just talk about the products that we have. So I guess I'm not like the other lady. I'm like, oh, let me tell you about all the things so you don't ask me any questions about.
Well, and the other thing is, I really do believe your staff will emulate you, copy you, and if you are taking this approach, this casual conversation, and I would tell staff who were not super comfortable it sounds crazy, but I did hire them. They weren't super comfortable feeling comfortable enough to start conversations with folks. They did develop into it, but I said, just watch how I do it, and it is a trainable thing. I think you can't train kindness. Maybe you can train some compassion, but as long as a person is there wanting to do well and wanting to learn, you can do that. But I love that. Just like, oh, can I take a peek with you and get excited with people? And I always joked when somebody didn't get as excited as I was. I'm like, get excited, because I'm so excited.
Hey, podcast friends, let's talk about firing your bisque with confidence. Kiln Core stilts are built for strength and stability with a solid refractory base that keeps your work secure. Each stilt features precision cut metal pins with sharp pencil point tips. designed to leave the smallest, cleanest marks possible after firing. Kiln core stilts provide dependable support so your glazed pieces don't stick to the shelf. Rated up to cone 10, they're a dependable choice for everything from low fire glazing to high fire production work, giving you confidence every time you load the kiln.
Are you spending hours managing studio bookings and class registrations? Occasion helps ceramic studios save an average of 3 days a week in admin time. With clever workflows, instant confirmations, and seamless class management, you can focus on what matters, creating amazing experiences for your customers. Join successful studios like Clay Cafe Avalon, who've trusted Occasion since 2016. Visit occasion.app and schedule a demo today. Mention Glazed Over Podcast for personalized setup support.
You do find that with some of the younger, like the Gen Z kids, they have some hard time starting those conversations, but like it is totally trainable, and showing them how to do it and how to open up conversations with customers. Next thing you know, they're chatty Cathys and they have best friend customers that they talk to. So,
True.
give them a little more grace than you normally do.
Well, and you know what? Actually, maybe challenge them. Say when you go shopping, because they're not all on their phone. They do shop in stores, see what you like. Are people talking to you? And maybe put it on them to experience it as a consumer, and in the consumer's shoes versus in the staff's shoes. And that might help them. It's definitely, anytime you have a younger person, especially their first job, it's kind of like a kindergartner teacher. You're getting them ready for what's next. They're not with you forever. You're going to train them, but you get to train them the way you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So we've talked a lot about the studio side. Do you want to talk about the digital side of branding and all that good stuff?
Yeah, that
because
sounds good.
that holds its weight equally to the in-person. Sometimes, if not even more. If somebody's Googling you or now AIing you, I don't know if that's a term, or chat GPTing you.
Yeah, they do that now. Yeah,
they do that. And they land on your website. That's their first impression. So the brand, a lot of people associate logo, color. Maybe those are the two biggest if you ask somebody about a brand on a website. And sure, those are important as long as they're delivered consistently, color especially. But the who, what, where, when, be very clear and make sure it's on your phone, set up to be mobile. I come across some studios that are still not mobile friendly, and you have to zoom in to get all the info. So that's a road we could go down on a whole different discussion. But just make sure when anybody finds you on any digital platform that you are present, that you're there. That doesn't mean TikTok and even X or Twitter. I do always suggest securing your name, though. Definitely, especially for new studios, get your name secured on everything, just so you have it. But be current on social media. Make sure that reflects the look that you want to look on your website, which is then carried over into your studio. And emails. I've got a little marketing soapbox for emails. Jessica, you send out emails, don't you?
Okay. Yeah.
How frequently are your emails?
Twice a month.
Yes. Okay. I think that's
okay.
Yeah,
Yay!
I think that's a sweet spot.
I win.
Yes, you do. You win the marketing award. You are slaying.
Yay!
And actually, I should have had a mug I painted. That probably wasn't a very good idea. There's one gal that sends them weekly and has a huge response. I've worked with other folks that do 3 times a month. If you're going to do emails, once is okay, but I really think twice a month is the sweet spot. And we're not talking about creating emails where you're scrolling. Again, they're looking at them on their phones, and you don't want to have to scroll or enlarge things. I do find, and I use several platforms, there's not a really solid, great one yet that really can transform it to a mobile view. You just want to make sure your point size on the text is big enough, your images are not so pulled out that you can't see what's in them. You just want to make it mobile friendly. So always send yourself a test email first, and then check it on your phone. And look at it through the eyes of your customers, not as yourself. Or send it to a friend. Say, do you like this? What's wrong? What's the action item? Because you always want to send them to do something. So,
do you have any idea what I'm talking about, or
you know what this is? That's right.
Yeah.
So all of those digital marketing tools and platforms should be playing very nicely with everything in your studio. One of my I don't know if pet peeve is the right word. It's just we're in a creative world. We're in a creative industry. We have creative studios, but that doesn't mean you can use 12 different colors of paper for your flyers. I think that's one of my Achilles heels. Like, please choose a color because like Pavlov's dog, if you are scrolling through Facebook and and something catches your eye, you catches your eye because you know that studio is always holding up their mug behind some certain background. But if you're all over the place with colors and images, there is no brand awareness. You have lost people. And the idea is that once you get that customer, you want to keep their attention. So when they're scrolling through Facebook and they're maybe looking at their emails, they know instantly it's from the studio and they want to look at it. So just control yourself. That'll be on my list too for marketing, but choose your two colors, maybe 2 to 3 fonts. And it's hard. I know Canva, all the platforms have so many fun fonts. You can create an event and have a font for that, but just you have to practice self-control. And it's hard because I fall prey to it also sometimes that you want to mix things up. But just remember your customers are trained, like literally like Pavlov's dog. They'll see what catches their eye. They might not even realize that background is why they stopped when they're looking at the mug. It's just ingrained in them. So it's all of these components complementing each other consistently and playing nice. Easier
What do
said
you
than
think is a
done.
good way to like, you know, organize all of that? So, I mean, do you have a tool for that that we could direct people to, or just a way like, should we tell them to maybe make a branding sheet that they can refer back to? Because I think that's the part of it is that you just get going and you have nothing to refer back to. So you just start doing and make something that looks good, you know?
I think a branding sheet is spot on, and there will be some info in my tip sheet as well, and that's also spot on for your staff because so many studio owners have their staff doing the social posts or some element or the emails that they can't just go willy-nilly again because we're all if you're
Mhm.
given Canva, which of course is kind of the default for a lot of content creation now, you can go crazy. Well, you don't want to go crazy. They have to stay within your parameters. So 100% a style sheet which has your fonts, even it could be point size for emails. You can get as specific as you want. Probably the more specific, the better if you're having other folks do the work for you. So 100%. And it's really as simple as we can make it into a one page, and I will have all that on the sheet. Now, content is tough because boy, oh boy, people take lots of pictures. You're creating these social
Mhm.
posts. That's a lot of stuff. So a Dropbox is simple. I keep all of ours organized by the month. Um, and that works. It's shared with my VA, so you can share, of course, Dropboxes or shoot, there's Google. There's all sorts of online platforms where you can share information, content with other
Mhm.
creators, other folks, and your staff. But it can be a lot to keep up with. So the simpler you can make it, probably the more appreciated by everybody, including yourself, because it can
Yeah.
it can be overwhelming. Just the photo and the video part can be really overwhelming,
Mhm.
but super important that all of your staff and anybody you have working outside of the studio follow your rules because you don't want somebody going off on their own and saying, but I love this new font. No, can't do
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, no, that's real. We have a QR code behind the counter for staff to drop their photos into our shared thing. So that might be a tip and trick for studio owners who want staff to contribute to their content creation folder. But I do agree, like it's good to have pick a few spots in your studio that you want your photos to be taken at and take all of your photos from there so that people know when they're scrolling by, that's your studio.
I love the QR code idea. That's fabulous. That's a great idea. And
Yeah, well, I've learned over the years you got to make it easy for the staff or they don't participate.
yes. And QR codes kind of get a bad rap sometimes. I think they got a bad rap when restaurants made you use them during COVID, and I didn't like that either. But QR codes are amazing for in your studio. Send somebody to sign up for emails, send them to follow you on social, sign up for an event. There's, gosh, unlimited ways. You don't want to dumb down too much. Like you want the staff to be involved and helping them do some of this
Mhm.
stuff, but you're not with them all the time. And if they're sitting at your table and you've got one of the acrylic signs on your table, sign up for our email list, boom, it's done, and it works. And QR codes convert in the window, have a sign. If you're in an area that has a lot of walk by traffic and you're closed, QR code for more info. Heck yeah. One of the funny, funny signs I saw, I think it must have been maybe during COVID, a mall had a paper printout sign taped to their front door that said, it was on the mall door that said, scan this code for our hours. And people are like, seriously? Like you couldn't print out a sheet, you had to print a QR code instead of our hours? So,
That's so funny.
yeah, people take some things a little bit too far, but I
Right.
think QR codes work very well
Yeah, for the right circumstance,
for the right thing.
absolutely.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you find is the most challenging for you to stay on brand? Do you have something that you find always, I don't know, that can be challenging for you to convey for your studio? Like, because I'm sure do you get people come in and say, are you a restaurant? I got that all the time, like, because of the tables, or
mhm.
do you have a part that just you wish you could find an easier way to market your studio through, like, in an awareness of under that branding umbrella? What are your biggest challenges?
Hmm. Well, we do clay,
Mm,
and people are very used to the just paint your own pottery side. So it's
mm,
been hard to get them to understand that. Sometimes people think that because we're the pottery place, that we're like a pottery shop, like
right,
vases and stuff,
right, right.
like you'll come here and find a bunch of vases, and they will come in upset that we're not like a garden store.
Oh, yeah.
Um, that's a very niche section of people, but I'm always like, no, that's a weird one. Um, but for the most part, I don't know. That's a tough one. I do think that I wish people knew that we did more than just walk-in stuff. It's hard for me to get people to understand that we have like classes and workshops and things, because that's it seems to drive everyone else's business. Everyone else is like, we do so many events and it does a
Mhm.
whole business, and I'm like, no one comes to our events and workshops. We're like walk-in. That's what does our whole business all the time, and people don't seem to really know that we have
Mhm.
workshops and things. No matter how much we market them, they just don't seem to see us as that place, I guess.
So this might help today, as the time of our recording of this. I just put out a blog about this summer, and it's going to be a challenging summer. All indications point staycation time. Um, there's all sorts of reasons for that, primarily gas. And when gas is expensive, jet fuel's expensive, and everything is going up. So staycation is coming back around. I think it must have been around, well, definitely COVID. Nobody went anywhere, but it's been a few years. People definitely were flying the coop a couple of years ago for the last 2 or 3 summers, but they're back because of rising prices and just so much uncertainty, especially about traveling abroad. So this is all going to tie into your events, I promise. So what I am recommending is 92 days. There's 92 days between June 1, August 31st. Make a very purposeful, planned, hyper-focused summer with around a theme, with events, trivia, bingo, games, things like that, and have a name for it. Um, the avatar, have you heard the term avatar when you're talking about who you serve primarily?
Mm-hmm.
It's who is your customer? Who is that one person that encompasses pretty much all of your customers? And I think most studios, there'll always be alternatives, but most are the woman 30s to 40s, usually a child or two, usually married, working, working from home or working out, friends, busy, stress. So tailor that summer around her, events for the family, but also using her to bring in her community as well. So in that blog, I called it 92 Days. How do you create a summer around that customer? Do you think does that really touch on who you think a lot of your customers are? Is that mom,
Mm-hmm.
youngish mom?
Mm-hmm.
Because not only do they want to bring their kids in this summer if they're not traveling far, because they're trying to watch, what they spend, but they also have friends who they want to get out with and see. These are super challenging times, and I think the stat I've thrown out there a couple times, which is fascinating, is women need every 22 days they need connection in person, not just like this on a call, in person with their people, whether it's one person or a small group of people. They need that community around them. And one of the studios I work with actually formed a club around that. So every 22 days, they have a small group come in and create together, which I think is so cool. So being very purposeful with how you plan the summer. I've heard actually on Chatter recently, a lot of folks are having good luck with bingo and trivia, and there's a million ways you can take those games. You can make it around a summer theme, maybe around plants. Succulents are still big, so maybe do something around succulents. But it really is going to come down to your people, your customers, and what you think they would jive with. So be very purposeful with how you create the summer, and then start now as far as branding. Make sure your website reflects that, all your posts, your emails, get people excited about it. Maybe have a kickoff summer, June 1st, or give or take, and then a wrap up. But also use that as the time, because summer, busy, September 1, crickets. So how do you use that momentum from that summer to get them back in September? You could do prize wheel in September, win a gift card. There's little gimmicks. I know folks are definitely being more careful with what they give away, excuse me, because of the times and prices are all going up. But there's all sorts of ways you can navigate the summer, and then also collaborating with folks. How do you get more bang for your buck? You work with a business next door. Are you in a strip center, Jessica, or like an independent building?
I'm in a downtown. So
Oh, okay. Cool.
yeah.
So that's all kinds of opportunities to do like a family day out crawl, or, the whole art crawl concept or something like that.
Mhm.
So creating a calendar around driving your community to you, not trying to find all these new customers. Let your community bring in those new customers. You could incentivize them a little bit, bring somebody new in. I'm not sure you really need to. I think you need to remind folks, this is perfect for your girls' day out, or by yourself. People are now, apparently it's big to go to movies by yourself. For a while, people were scared.
Yeah.
And they're
Not me.
oh, no. So I
I
would
love a
say,
solo date.
oh, totally, totally. And actually, it'd be a dream for me to go into a studio and just sit and paint by myself,
Mhm.
For sure. So yeah, try that. And I know there's just some areas that do better with events than others. And you don't want to beat a dead horse, but maybe look at it from framing it around a whole summer theme. Like, what are you going to do this summer? Because I really do 100%. People are going to be watching their money this summer. They will not be
Right.
spending all the camps, all the travel, all this and that. But they're still going to be taking care of their children. They still want their kids to have fun. They still want their kids to put this down, and that's the phone I'm holding up,
Mhm.
or the iPad or whatever it is, and create their own family memories. It's so funny. One thing that drives me nuts is it's okay. I get the creating memories concept, but sometimes it's just thrown out there too much. I think memories are just organic. They just happen unintentionally. I think those are the best memories. So create those moments in your studio where at the end of the summer, mom can say, that was so great. We had a great time, and, we love our studio, making a heart with my hands. Do you like the idea of creating a theme over the summer?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the staycation idea, because something I've always struggled with in the past is the tourist, because I'm in a tourist area, and so summer is touristy things. And we do shipping. Last year I did a passport program, so I did it was like a make and take situation. So you got to write a postcard and take somebody else's postcard and their trinket dish that they made, and then you left your postcard and your trinket dish. That way you could take something and make something all at the same time. And we put up a website where you could take a picture when you got it home and put it, and it was really fun and it was a good time. But like I do, like you think that there's going to be less of that traveling. Our like main the walking bridge here is our main tourist attraction is closed for renovations this summer. So I think we've got a lot less tourists coming to town. So I think it's more staycation. So I'm trying to do the same thing, like figure out how do I capture those people and remind them that like we're here for more than just your walk-in day. Like you can come to our classes where we're doing things and meet the people that are in your community that you might
Yeah.
have other things in common with and make a friend to go do something else with.
Well, Christmas in July is always a good one. It's not going anywhere. There's all sorts of different Christmas in Julys. And shoot, the Christmas trees, I don't think that wave is ever going to stop.
No.
Of course, there's variations. There's all different other light up bisque out there. So host a Christmas in July and you have Christmas music playing, just kind of play it up. So yeah, along those lines, you can have a lot of fun with it. But what you said, I think, is so important. I think when it comes down to it, it's about building our community because these people just once you get past that first visit and they're cool with things, it's a special type of experience for them. And it's our job as studio owners to make sure they're sharing that with their people. Don't keep that close. You want to make sure
Hmm.
you're doing the Google reviews and forwarding the emails and 100% you can feel very comfortable asking these customers, especially when they're on the newer side. Established, it's a little different because they will tell everybody. But just say, come back and bring friends. We would love to have you all here together, and just feel comfortable making those conversations and reminders because not everybody thinks, oh yeah, this would be great for my church group, for a team building. Definitely keep an eye out. I was in a center with a lot of lunch places and a lot of corporate stuff, and people would always come in and walk around with their ID badges on. And I tried to train my staff. When you see those ID badges, that means they work for a company, and that means typically they'll have some budget or some
Hmm.
opportunity for team building. So always talk to the people in badges, not necessarily in your face about team building, but just say, oh, just so you know, these are what we can do. Even as an outing separately, you just bring in some of your coworkers. It doesn't have to be a structured one. So yeah,
Right.
yeah, the marketing conversation and the branding can be as wide as this is deep. But
Yeah.
again, they're reminders. They're reminders that anything is possible. It's around the conversation and the community that you are creating, kind of an old little subculture of pottery people, and you want them to be your biggest cheerleaders. So the consistent delivery of what you are offering from the digital side and more importantly, the physical side. So when these new folks do come in that are being introduced by your customers, they experience what your customers have, the joy of being there, a comfortable, casual, relaxing setting. The inventory is all neat and tidy. Your paints are neat and tidy. Yes, you might have the screaming child, and that's handled separately. There's nothing you can do about some of these factors. Just control what you can control and make sure that everybody has a great visit. And then, especially when they come back to pick up, get excited and talk up what else is new. And if you do decide to theme the summer or have special classes coming up, 100% make sure they take something home with them that can connect them with that. If they're not in a hurry, you could try to sign them up. I never want to feel heavy sales pressure like, oh, can I sign you up now? And you can read the room. There's some people who'll be like, heck yeah, sign me up. Most are like, I'm just here to pick up my pottery. I'm not here to take
Hmm.
on a heavy sales pitch. But little bag stuffers, so to speak, I kind of like stapling things on the outside. Not everybody does bagging, so that depends on how you want to send home info if you do, but definitely make sure that they know what's coming up in one shape or form, or just, plan another visit. We've got, I don't know what, new vases or something for Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up that you'll definitely want to see. So always
Yeah.
leave them with their thought planning their next visit, 100%.
Plus, in the South, we just say, see y'all next time. Just put it in their head that they're coming back.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Like I said, I grew up in New England and New Hampshire, and now that I'm in the Carolinas, I do say y'all, but I don't say it very well, but every now and then I'll catch myself with
It
a
comes out.
y'all. It does come out. It does come out for sure.
One
But
of
I would
us.
say, I would say these next few months, preparing for summer. Of course, we've got Mother's Day, Father's Day, teachers' gifts, which I've always called that the second Christmas because it's such a short time span of heavy gift giving. Of course, Mother's Day and Father's Day are totally different. Mother's Day, that's the dads, and that's not always aligned with their schedule, and they'll come in, the Saturday before the Sunday. Uh, so that's handled differently, but marketing to the moms for Father's Day is so much fun. Dads will buy the humongous platters. Moms, for mom will not buy the humongous platter. She'll buy the coffee mug for dad. She'll buy the
Yeah.
more practical things, but in higher volume because the moms will come in and they know how it works. They're not looking
Right.
confused at the front door. And then teacher gifts. Don't forget about teacher gifts. Now that most schools are back, there's a little more virtual out there, but get those planters, the fingerprints, the coffee mugs, a
Auction
desk.
items.
Oh my gosh, galore. So yeah, I'm always, as I said when I introduced myself, nothing special is needed to work with me. You just email me or text me, and I'm happy to chat about ideas. because the worst thing could be is if you have these opportunities that you're not seizing on. Make sure you know your customers too. Where do they work? Are there teachers? Are there PTA people? PTA probably more important than teachers. That's your in, because PTAs are notoriously hard to work with. They don't want to just be promoting businesses willy-nilly because they can't, and schools can't do that. But if they know you and they support you, then heck yeah, they're going to give you some opportunities. So make sure you know your great customers that you're comfortable talking with and sharing with, and they share with you, because people do share lots, too much, usually. And but take advantage of that, make a partnership out of it. They know you well, and they can easily sell you better than you could sell yourself to a school or to a group or anything like that.
Thanks for listening. I'm Des Toll from Biscuit Imports. And if you want dependable support and clean firing results, Kiln Core stilts are ready to go to work for you. Available now at biscuitimports.com. Stock up today and fire with confidence.
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
No two studios look the same, and that's exactly why the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association exists. Whether your studio offers paint your own pottery, clay hand building, wheel throwing, glass fusion, or a mix of it all, CCSA is here to support you. From education and resources to community and industry advocacy, we help Fired Art Studios grow stronger businesses. Wherever you are on your studio journey, CCSA is here for you. Learn more at ccsaonline.com.
All right, Hillary, well, we're coming up on the end of our time. So any closing remarks for everybody? Any last bits of advice?
My goodness. Well, I will encourage you to look at thecreativeretailer.com, because I will have that branding worksheet. It is overwhelming, but my favorite newish way this year that I've been working on big tasks is to set an alarm on my phone, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour. I really can't go more than an hour, just because my brain starts wandering. But put yourself to task, set a 30-minute timer, look at the sheet, check off what you're doing right. I have a feeling that a lot of the studios who are listening to us already have a lot of these pieces in place, and I'm hoping maybe there's just some more you can add to your branding worksheet to really reinforce your business as a community-centered, welcoming place this summer when people are looking for things to do. Top of mind is huge. Make sure your Google business page is all aligned, because of course all the AI platforms rely on Google for their results as well. So make sure your website is updated. Please do not have anything from camp from 2024 on there, because that does pop up every now and then. Make sure at least the homepage has everything relevant to right now. And then just work with your staff, really reinforce for them to listen to how you speak with customers, encourage them to have fun getting comfortable talking with customers, and especially going into other stores and kind of reporting back on their stories and what they're learning. It's more, again, so many of our fellow studio owners have young staff, and this is new for them. Their lives are about their phone and connecting digitally, and we're connecting in person. So really make sure they understand this is the best way. I love my tech, but geez, Lou, we all need our people in our community. Right. And they're their own community in the studio, supporting each other. So it's been fun to share this, and I appreciate the opportunity. And I love the work everyone's doing. I love to see their successes. There's always going to be challenges, and that's what our community is for. CCSA, the creative retailer community. Make sure you have people to work things out with, because you don't want to be alone, an island in this world. It's too crazy to be on. Well, actually, being on an island right now sounds kind of nice, but not as far as a business owner island. You want
vacation island.
You vacation island for a week, and then I'll come back. But make sure you're surrounded by the people who really challenge you and lift you and are helpful. And you be that same person to be a helpful part of the community.
Are we going to see you at convention, Hillary?
I am still deciding. I have my Navigating the Middle retreat in September, and I am been working on that. I really enjoyed convention last year. I went pretty much as a fly on the wall. I took a couple classes. I wasn't teaching anything, and I wasn't setting up as a supplier. I'm a supplier just to catch up with folks, because it had been a while. So TBD, we're going down. This is probably completely inappropriate for the podcast, but I will be in Tampa in 2 weeks, because my daughter is seeing BTS in concert. What?
Oh, fun.
K-pop, but I'm not.
Yay!
Dad and I are dropping her off and we're going to hang around Tampa. So at least I'll get to, I haven't been to Tampa in a long time. So
Oh, that'll be
that's
fun
kind of,
though.
yeah, well, for her, we're going to hear, I'm going to have to wear headphones we're driving from
Yeah.
Charlotte. It'll be a long drive. So I think it's a great location. So I'm happy that it's getting mixed up a little bit, but appreciate everybody in this community. And this has been fun. Happy to help as needed.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today. We sure appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Glazed Over is brought to you by the CCSA, the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association. Thank you to our moderators, Jessica Cowan and Vanessa Steele. Editing by Scott Lester. Executive production by Vicki DeWorth. Learn more about becoming a member at ccsaonline.com.